Hello, my name is Sandra Bergen, and welcome to Yahuwah's game. It's just a ride in the Matrix. Today is 08162017. Still learning about heaven, and it's clear that the perfect host does not know it has a parasite, just like the perfect mind control victim does not know they're mind controlled through many means. And I'm going to touch base on a few things. I was going to wait till tomorrow to record this, but it needs to be done. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing another one because I don't know what's going to be happening in the next few months. But I want to talk a third episode of etymology. And I'm going to talk about etymology. And I'm going to talk about etymology to start with. And hopefully this works pretty quickly. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, I started to create some slides a few weeks ago. This was on August 2nd, so today is now the 16th. But etymology is the facts of the origin and development of a word, and there's a more lengthy definition that can be looked up on Google or whatever. And I have some words that have come to me, and there's other ones, but this was from a couple weeks ago that I was going to put all the work in to showing what the words were that came to my head, because I was saying we're human beings and all beings and is bees. And so the root online etymology dictionary is a being is, which presents third person singular, was, past first and third person singular, were, and being progressive and past. Being, the fact of existence, as opposed to non-existence. Middle English word, as in human being, we are all this, is, was, and can be. We are all possibility. And there's a reason that they call us human beings. And then the word emotion, which is emotion with emotion, and they both stem from the Latin emore, meaning to move. And emotion is any conscious experience characterized by intense mental activity and a high degree of pleasure or displeasure. So it's any conscious experience characterized by intense mental activity and a high degree of pleasure or displeasure. So emotion can influence our behavior, it can influence our perception. And, there's something called loosh, which is the energy that these interdimensionals, especially these high archons, they suck off of our energy, off of our loosh and our emotions. It's been described from a few different channelers or aliens that I've listened to speak. And they call it, they feed off our emotions. So then I was like, okay, where do we come up with the word with emotion? Because when I used to type as a legal secretary, we'd have emotion to dismiss, and sweet emotion and motion, and it was recorded to guide or direct by a sign, gesture, or movement. So they guide or direct our movement of our emotions. They guide or direct our energy for their flavor of the week. Okay, we'll do this to this person this week, and next week you can have the first taste after we sabotage them. And then definition of motion in Merriam-Webster is act, process, or instance of change, place, movement, an active or functioning state of condition. which is an active or functioning state of condition, an impulse or inclination of the mind or will, the fundamental motions of humanity to good or evil, a proposal for action. Huh. So emotion and motion, there's a reason that they call our emotions what they are, our highs and lows, our loves, our disappointments, our sorrows, our fear, our anxiety. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to stop share for now, I think, because let me see what the next one is. Oh, okay. Emotion, meaning feeling, is a relatively recent addition, dated from as early as 1579. From Amore. In the early 1600s, the words were adapted into the English language through Latin. Before then, it referred to agitation or stirring up. So it stirs up. They both ultimately stem from the Latin emore, meaning to move, but the distinction between them is old. Yeah. Yeah, and other words came to my head. Okay, like, oops, yeah, let me stop share here. Like Nazis and Zion, that came from Max Spears. I was watching his show today, and I'll be talking about some stuff from Max, but he brought up the word Zion and Nazi. Zion is Z-I-O-N, Nazi is N-A-Z-I. There's just a little mix between the two, and both of them are groups of power-hungry, some kind of interdimensional. I don't want to call them interdimensional. They're from the inner earth. They're from space. And what else did I have for words while we're on etymology? All right. Okay. The word wait and wait. Wait on me. Wait on the Lord. We're always waiting, hoping. But wait, and then weight of your weight. Oh, do you weigh enough? I'm overweight. Both of them are almost a negative inclination of waiting, of being weighted down onto this planet, and we're planted on the planet. And those two words came to my head today, which was planet, P-L-A-N-E-T, which I call it a planet now, because we know that it's technically, the Matrix has us envisioning this whole round galaxy thing, but that's all a part of the program. We're in a timeline. It's synthetic. It's what the program says it is, and that's why Nibiru is here, because the program said it's time for him to be here. And we have to understand we're in a sophisticated grand illusion where infinite love is the only truth and everything else is grand illusion. And it's persistent, and they persistently give us a perception deception. And so they have us waiting, and then you're weighted down on this planet. You're planted on a planet, right? I planted the tomatoes. I planted the seeds. I planted the flowers. I live on the planet Earth, on Starship Earth. You get it? Why do they put these words in? And your psychic, everything is subconscious, picks all this stuff up. And we don't really know that everything is symbols and sigils and numbers and words. Words are spells. Words are spells. Yeah, the Nazi and the Zion, and they're both like such horrendous groups. Yeah, and okay. And then I wanted to mention that everybody's talking about October of this year, and we don't know when it is, but it is coming. There's lots of people who have been waiting and talked to the Father, talked to the Creator God, talked to their guides, talked to their spirit guides, and they're all saying, we don't know that day or the hour, but we know the times. We can perceive the times. And there's perplexity in the skies, as you can see, with the chemtrails and the stars and the moon and everything and the sun. And it's happened, I've heard even between 3 to 6 times in the last probably 100,000 years, where every so many thousand years the whole planet wipes out. And yes, you know, I've had people say, well, would we really get nuked? And I'm like, they nuked Sodom and Gomorrah. We nuked Japan in the 20th century. Of course, Yahuwah is the God of war, and he's back, and he's pissed. And he basically said for me to show this. And he's back. Yeah. And I don't even know if I want to go into the Anunnaki. Anu is the grandfather to Yahuwah, Engel, and Inki. And the grandmother is ayahuasca from this planet, and we're hybrids of them. And it's all going to work out. So if there is going to be a nuke, it could definitely be because of a country dropping it on us, or us starting it with another country and then retaliating. Or it could definitely be because of the pole shift that's coming. It's imminent. And it's in Isaiah that the earth is going to go to and fro like a drunkard. So it's not going to flip over, but it's going to rock. And everything has been tilting anyways. And Nibiru's in our solar system. And that's the Anunnaki's starship planet that comes in. I've heard every 3,600 years, which is from the Sumerian text. But then I've heard others say 12,000 years. So it's a long orbit with its own little galaxy called Nemesis, and that's all part of this matrix. So it's an exciting timeline to be on, but we need to make this a different outcome, because they already have us as humanoids, robotoids, clones. They catch our souls with the moon, and let's see. And I was listening to Max Spears, and a lot of things about Max. They killed him last year, July 16th, I believe, 2016. I think it was that. Well, Tory Smith, they killed too, who was talking all about Mike Pence and his pedophilia, and about Indiana. And anyways, Max Spears talks about the moon being a soul-catching machine, and about underground bases, and about the children, and it's funny though. Moon is for rules emotion. The moon rules emotion, and I was born under a full moon, And so was my mother, was born under a full moon. And the moon is and I construct, there it is out during the day. I just been out during the day, every day, this whole week, since that was before the full moon, and now it's going to the down to the crescent moon, down to the new moon, and it's having a very odd orbit, and there'll be signs for this coming pole shift, which is going to cause a bunch of earthquakes, and it could cause these nuclear plants to cause bomb radiation to come off, or we could end up being bombed by North Korea. Everybody wants to be afraid of North Korea, and we've gone through this all before, and we do know they want to you do know that they want to depopulate to 5 billion or less. You know, they need to get rid of like 5 billion people. I don't really think that there's 7, or when they're pushing 8. They've been genociding us for centuries now, for a long time. And I wanted to talk about Walt Disney. When I'm in Sedona, Arizona right now, and when I was driving here between Phoenix and Sedona, in the sky for at least an hour, because I think the drive between Phoenix and Sedona is a couple hours, there was graphic, beautiful cartoons in the sky, in the clouds, of Goofy and Pinocchio and Pluto and princesses and trolls and Smurfs and the monsters, and just a lot of them. And the spirit of Walt Disney came to me. I had the feeling of him, and I got to Sedona, and I shared it with somebody the next day, these cartoons I saw, and he's like, oh, well, you know, Walt Disney he lived here. He was inspired by Thunder Mountain for Fantasia. And then, you know, Walt came, and we had a communication, and he showed me how powerful the subliminals are in cartoons, and what goes on in the amusement parks, and realizing that, you know, that what a better place, he said, to do it than at a kid's amusement park. And that they have breeder houses, and that they take their own children. And he did it in other lives too, and I was one of his children. And these breeder women that they get are real spiritual. Usually they were the Indian ones, the native, from the tribes, from the ones with high spiritual and intelligence. And then they would take the children, and they would use them and totally mind control them, and use them in their cartoons, and use them in sick pornography, and the child didn't even know any different. And then the child was disappear because they had their own secret world. And he reminded me that I let my daughter, when she's now 38, she doesn't talk to me, she hates me, she has the butterfly tattoo, she doesn't know why. I lived in California. They had killed my first husband, her dad, when she was 1 year old. And so I went to California with this steam fitter. And I let the neighbors take her to Disney, these 2 girls. And he showed me that they took her to a basement, and they electroshocked her brain. And they had more sophisticated. She was born in 1979. I was born in 59. And they did this. They had me in a hospital for days, where they had this short stint with Amy, but then she ended up with my parents after that, and I have no idea. But yeah, and then I'm watching Max Spears today, and he says about Disney, he brings it up. He says that those are MK centers. Walt Disney is MK centers. So And Walt showed me the power of Disney. And my mom had every Disney movie, and my daughter Amy has every Disney movie. And I was watching Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz and the Disney movie of the week and subliminals. And we have to understand that that you know these secret societies. You know, I mentioned something about sharing about Walt Disney in a video, and somebody emailed me and messaged me and said, you know, here's a 33-degree Mason. And I'm like, I do now. You know, I heard he's a Nazi, and when he spoke with me, it was in a German accent because he went back to when he was my father, and it wasn't in this lifetime when he was this Walt Disney. He wasn't even named Walt Disney then. He had different breeding houses, different. This has been going on for lots of timelines, lots of thousands of years of us thinking that we're in this advanced timeline where, oh, now they have capabilities because of the television. Television's been around for a long time. Yeah, they control the history, they control the present. Okay, so I talked about Walt Disney, and we talked about, did we talk about the moon, right? The moon is not a normal construct. It's it represents emotion, and it's actually can trap souls and to wipe out your memory. And it, and I had my brother show me that, and I actually was taking kind of like it was a past life recollection of being pulled out of my body towards the soul, towards the moon. And this was a couple weeks ago, and it felt like a soul catcher was trying to get me. And then I find out from others, and there's a bunch of stations on there. There's a lunar operations center on the other side of the moon, and there's all kinds of activity. And then we have Nibiru in our solar system, which is Planet X by some, Kachina, Planet Wormwood in the Bible. And my best, from what I've seen, it should be this year, just like some people are saying, and people are being condemned for it. And we don't know the day or the hour, but we can perceive the times, and these times are indeed very strange weather, and finding out about all the deep underground bases and the deep underground cities and a whole nother underground world, and this is just going to explode. And Nibiru comes in our solar system as part of this matrix, and part of this timeline, and some call them the Anunnaki who are on it. It could be the Dracos, and we know that this is end time. Whether it's this year, next year, 2025, I don't know. I've had spirits tell me 2025 from the beginning, and we're in 2017. Would I want it to go another year? Hell yeah. But would I want it to be over in another year? More yes, because waiting 10 years to see my grandbabies, because they took my grandbabies away while they're still alive, much less in other lives. They've killed children of mine for the emotion collection, the harvest, because we're a lush farm. We have to remember, we have farmers, we're a ranch, and we have ranchers that keep us in line. We're domesticated cattle. He calls us the sheeple in the Bible. So he calls us the sheep. He doesn't say sheeple, but this is for all the animal people too. And we could get into all kinds of crazy things that are going on with the people in the churches being led astray. And I just hope that this helps you, and to make sure that you know when the pole shift happens, or the catastrophes from Nibiru, to have flashlights. And there'll be 3 days of darkness. And I had already a dream about it, and I was walking outside, and the sky was black, and it was during the day, and I almost forgot the dream, and then spirits brought me reminders about it. And I said, oh, that was the day of darkness. And then I found out about the 3 days of darkness. And of course, they say don't look out your windows, because you remember Lot's wife when she looked back, when they radiated and she turned into a pillar of salt. But in the dream, I was walking outside, and I didn't have any fear. But I would like maybe not have candles or kerosene if the world is shaking with vibrational earthquakes from the pole shift, from the pole of Nibiru or whatever it is, to make sure you have flashlights and drinking water and food to eat. And I just feel good. I finished this, and I'm going to thank you and say goodnight.